Hi everyone, my name is Grace. I'm a recently graduated doctor in the US and I'll soon be starting my intern year in family medicine. And I created this channel because there was a lot of trial and error during my journey, during the pre-med years, during the medical school years, and I'm sure during the intern year. And so I just wanted to share all the tips and tricks that I've learned throughout this process to hopefully save you some time, some stress, and some grief. So let's get started. What I'm going over today in this video is the 5 things that I wish I had known before I had started medical school and also during medical school. So for the preclinical years, you really want to focus on board-based studying. And so what I mean by this is a lot of universities, the professors will put out lectures for the medical students. That's all the stuff that's going to be on the tests. And it's usually stuff that they want to focus on more so than what's actually going to be on the board exams. So how I recommend going about this to still be able to pass your tests and know all the things that they want you to know, and also know the board-based things that you need for your board exams, would be to, when you're learning about a topic, start with a board-based resource to learn the meat and bones of the topic. And so you want to get a book like First Aid, which is really the essence of all of the board stuff boiled down to its base parts. And so it's all in a condensed format that's easy to understand, and it's really everything that's going to be on the board exams. So I would start there. And if you learn better by watching videos, I would use a board-based resource such as Boards and Beyond to watch videos about those. And I would say once you have the topics down really well from those board-based resources, then go through the lectures that your professors have put up and know the details that you need for your class exam. And I think that doing it this way will really benefit you in your board exams. And those are so important because they can be a screening tool for interviews during residency or to get into residency. And so having strong board resources, strong board knowledge is what's going to be the difference between getting an interview and not getting an interview. So secondly, I would say the most important thing is to take care of yourself during medical school. And you know, people are always like, eat healthy, exercise, we know that. And I would say really to take it a step beyond this and to take care of your mental health. Medical school is really hard. It is stressful, and being able to take care of your mental health, I think, is almost more important than the physical health and your diet, because I think it all flows from your mental health. And if you're not doing well mentally, you're not going to be able to go to the gym. You're not going to be able to eat healthy. And so as someone who personally struggled with my mental health during part of medical school, you just have to not be scared to ask for help. And for me, that was in the form of therapy, and I got on medication for anxiety. And I also was diagnosed with ADHD during medical school. That's a video I'll do another time about ADHD, especially in women, and being diagnosed a little bit later. But I would say that that's something that you really want to work on, is your coping mechanisms for stress. And so this is something you can start even before medical school, is just making sure you have a strong way of coping with your stress levels and with things when they get hard. And so also for me, something that really helped was meditation. So I found some apps such as Headspace. They have a $10 a year discount or $10 a year cost for those who are in school. And it is such a wonderful curriculum because it has all kinds of different courses that you can do, and they range from like 5 minutes and beyond, so you can start really small and work your way up. And I think that's just a wonderful way to manage stress. Third on this list is prioritize your hobbies and your relationships during medical school. This is hard to do because you're limited on the amount of time that you have. However, I think it's so important because you really need to lean on others during this time. This goes with the stress coping mechanisms, and I think talking with others and hanging out with your family, hanging out with your friends is going to be so important to how you're able to manage your stress. And also, it's really easy to lose yourself in medicine. It's easy to lose who you are because so much of you has to be dedicated to this goal of getting your medical degree. And even before medical school, so much of you is dedicated to getting into medical school, and it's very easy to lose who you are at your core. And so even if once a week you can prioritize one of your hobbies, whether that's hiking or crocheting or reading, I really recommend that you do that because it will pay off for you. So 4th on this list is keep a planner on your phone. And you can do this just through the calendar app on the iPhone or Android, but I recommend getting a planner app that's specific for school. And these apps, you can organize your schedule by courses and then also the extracurricular stuff you want to do, such as your hobbies, and even, you can schedule in gym time, etc. And I think that this is just so helpful to have because it makes those extra things like your hobbies and other things you want to prioritize, you can put them in the schedule. And so you're more likely to do them if you see it as part of your schedule, not something that you can skip on, just like you can't skip on studying. And I think this is also really helpful because there's so many due dates within medical school, especially for the preclinical years, but even for the clinical years, there's lots of due dates to keep track of. And for me personally, it helped with my stress levels to just have it all written down in that app and have reminders set for it. That way I knew for sure I wasn't going to miss anything that I needed to turn in. And so this just really made me feel a lot better. And I think the app that I used, it was Pocket Schedule Planner on the App Store, and it was like $12, and I think it was really worth the money. Lastly on this list, I think you really need to think about budgeting while you're in medical school. And so unfortunately, schools don't give you a ton of money to work with, sometimes like $18,000 to $30,000 a year. So I think you really would benefit from budgeting. And the reason for this is money can be a huge source of stress. And if you have things written out, either on paper, or you could use an app such as Rocket Money that categorizes the budget for you and keeps track of it for you. I think that this relieves a lot of stress because you're not worried about overspending in one area and then not having enough money for another area. And this can also help avoid getting into credit card debt. During medical school, and actually before medical school, I had a little bit of credit card debt, and that definitely added to the stress. And I think the reason why I accumulated some of that was I just was not budgeting for what I needed, and so then I would end up coming up short in certain areas and I'd have to spend on my credit card, and that just amplified my stress. So I'm just gonna save you some stress right now and tell you how important it is to just set a budget for yourself. And you don't need to cut things down so far that you hate your life. You can still add in going out with your friends, eating out sometimes, and you want to make your life enjoyable. So still include some of that stuff for your mental health, but also have the peace of mind knowing that you're not going to overdo it. So those are my 5 things that I think you should know before you start medical school, and I hope they helped, and I hope they save you some stress and some anxiety, and I'll see you all next time.